In today's episode, we talk about why you need to stop promoting your technical talent to management. I want to start today by putting some stats out there that I found on the medium.com compiled about employees and their work. In a survey of 2,000 employees, almost half, that's 43%, said that they're looking for a new job and that corporate culture was the main reason. 92% of employees said that they would be more likely to stay in their job if their bosses showed more sympathy. When surveyed, 76% of employees who don't feel valued at work are seeking other job opportunities. Over 70% of high retention risk employees want to leave because they see no future advancement in their current job. And lastly, organizations with poor onboarding programs have double the chances of experiencing employee turnover. Now, what I want you to take away from those stats is that there is a central role in all of our companies that have a meaningful impact on these statistics, both positively or negatively. And that's management. Good management is the key to lasting success at the company. And the reason I say that is because just take a look at the stats. If good managers can show empathy, if they can show their employees that they're valued, if they can create further advancement opportunities, then people won't want to leave. And the people who directly impact this opportunity and these ideas are the managers. The managers set the culture for the company. Now, what's funny is that most companies who hire technical employees, I think actually do a very poor job of hiring their middle management roles. And this is anecdotal evidence. This is basically from me talking to other friends who are in other technical companies. So I don't have the objective data to prove this, but I still wanted to take the time to explain why, if your company has this thinking, it's not a good idea. And why, if you're really a technical person, you may not actually want to go to management. So let's start with an example. For instance, let's say that Sam is a great mechanical engineer. Sam works for a mechanical engineering company and they build widgets. I don't know, any kind of widget. Sam can design a part like nobody else. He is one of the top performers at his company and he continually finds creative engineering solutions to problems. Sam started with the company as an entry-level engineer and now has been promoted to a senior level, a more senior level. However, the problem is that above him, the next position for him to get quote-unquote promoted is a manager position. Now, in order for Sam to develop and grow in that company, he basically needs to take a manager role in order to manage a team. And now, while it makes logical sense for an engineer with a lot of experience to mentor and coach junior engineers so that they can develop, this is not actually a great thing, because think about all the administrative work that Sam now has to do. Sam now has to deal not only with the technical challenges of the team, but also the emotional problems. He needs to be able to listen to them vent about each other and other teams. He needs to give year-end reviews. He needs to hold staff meetings. He needs to work on budgets and a million other things that he would have nothing to do with whatsoever if he was an engineer or somebody who was just focusing on solving the technical issues. Now, with Sam's skill set being in engineering, how long do you think he will last or have the satisfaction if he stays in a management position? And if he actually lasts, how effective do you think he'll be in this position? In both cases, I don't think you get very positive answers. Let's take this example just a little bit further. Think about when Sam enters a technical challenge. Sam may have a vision for how things should be done, and a junior engineer comes to them and they may have a different idea. Whose idea do you think will actually win? Well, it's probably Sam's in most cases. And in most cases, Sam's decision is actually probably the better one or the right one. But it robs the junior engineer of a very valuable learning opportunity and the ability to develop his or her project solving or problem solving skills. They're not able to work through mistakes. They're not able to work through challenges simply because their manager is able to provide the technical solution for them. And this is, I think, a big problem because we want our junior engineers who have a enjoyment in the technical world or, whatever industry you're in. You want your technical people to enjoy technical work, but also to develop and hone those skills that are technical. Because otherwise, at one point, you may lose your very technical or very skilled person, and then nobody else on your team or nobody else that report into this person are able to take anything challenging. That's a problem. Now, more often than not, people like Sam who are in engineering or technical roles have a passion for engineering and not people management. And moving Sam into a people management role will only hurt the forward progress of the team and could lead to some very frustrated employees. Just take a look at the stats in the beginning again. Look at the things that drive employee retention and happiness. Empathy, meaning, purpose, advancement opportunity. All things that people with a high emotional quotient or EQ can handle very well, not necessarily those with a high IQ. Somebody with a high EQ, you may have interacted with them. You really feel comfortable talking to them. You feel they understand you. They're not always trying to interject and explain things. Versus people with high IQs are generally very solutions driven. They want to be able to give their knowledge to people. And as a manager, you really want somebody who can be empathetic and understand their employees. High EQ wins in management all the time. Now, we should take a second to acknowledge here that we should not be preventing technical people from going to management if they actually desire that. But what I think most people believe, and most technical people believe, is that in order to progress high enough and to have a good salary or the ability to influence decision-making at the company, then they have to move into management. And I think this is a bad idea and bad thinking in general. Now, I think it can be eliminated in a couple of ways. But first, you need to really understand where that person is coming from, and you need to be able to deconstruct those ideas. And in order to do that, in order to deconstruct the idea that in order to have some happiness and move up at work, I need to go to management, you need to really understand one thing: employee motivation. What really drives your employee coming to work? Now, in my next episode, we're actually going to be talking about that, how to easily get to the bottom of what your employee is motivated by and how to implement that in your work. But for now, we can say that once you find out what motivates them, you should aim to build a company culture that helps them stay motivated. Now, what I mean here is this. If they care more about money, then you should be able to give them a position that basically has no ceiling and they can constantly make more money as long as they're providing good technical solutions. Now, if they care about the work itself, you need to find interesting and new areas for this employee to actually step into and maybe carve out their strategic vision on how this new area should happen. Now, if it's about the titles, I would say that's where it gets a little bit more interesting and maybe a little bit more challenging to actually implement at your company, but nevertheless possible. What you should be able to do is create two pathways, essentially where there are increasing titles, basically all the way up to what the equivalent of a director role would be. You want to be able to basically give an engineer or a technical person the ability to continue to attain higher titles while still focusing them in the technical area. Really, you need to get to the bottom of what motivates them. Is it money? Is it the work? Or is it the title? I think what's pretty cool is being able to create a pathway for engineers or technical people in general to lead a technical team without having to deal with any of the administrative work, right? Like give the senior technical person a project that have a few engineers supporting them so that the most senior level is really able to direct and delegate on how this thing should be tackled while still kind of being a coach and a mentor to them. And I think even in that role, you need to be able to direct and adjust how this technical person steps into that role, right? Because, like I said, what got them to that role is not going to what's going to help them succeed in that role. Ooh, got a bit tongue-tied there. So really, I think that's a cool opportunity, right? Because they get to lead a team and not have to deal with all of the administrative work, right? Or the administrative side of management. You give them and focus them on solving the technical problems, because ultimately the technical problems are what's going to differentiate your business from another one, or your company from another company in your space. So what I do want to just take a second and recognize, though, is that we don't want to prevent technical people from getting into management. In fact, I think it's a really good opportunity for people who are in the company, who want to go up in the company. If they have a desire for people management, then you should be able to carve out a space for them to do that. In fact, it's preferable, I would say, to find out those people in your company that want to be managers and give them a space to do that. You don't want those people to leave just because, they don't have the specific technical skill set you're looking for, because you do need people to lead and inspire teams to pursue and drive after these challenges. And don't be fooled. I think there are tons of people that graduate from technical degrees that have technical experience that want to move into the management sphere. In fact, I'm one of them, right? I enjoy the management side of things. My favorite part about work is building relationships and hearing people and understanding other people's points of views. And I think there are tons of young engineers that feel the same. I think most of the people that I talk to actually who are new in their career have a desire to go into a management role as a technical person. And I don't think that's going to be a shortage ever, right? Because there are going to be always talented people who enjoy the people side of problem solving. So when you're looking to promote people from within, I think you want to look for a few different traits. People that are great at relationship building, people that are great at strategic thinking, and people that know how to operate under pressure. I think those three traits make really good managers, but we'll go into that in a different episode. You also want to look for people who are great at communicating. That's also huge, right? And also people who are willing to step back and let people take credit for what was done. You don't want a manager constantly sitting on the front lines, wearing that badge of honor, say, yeah, it's all me, when in fact it probably is not. Now, you'll probably get 100 other different ideas of what makes a good manager, but at the base, you really want to get managers who love people. You want managers whose favorite aspect of the job is the people they work with and not necessarily the specific problem that they're solving. Promoting the latter is a recipe for micromanagers and people who are not good at letting go of daily tasks. And honestly, your business will always need these two types of people: management and technical folks. Those with a mind for business and those with a mind for the technical and trying to solve another person's problems. And the big travesty is when you try to fit technical people into non-technical roles or vice versa. This will create massive problems for your organization and your employees. Thanks for listening, and until next time, stay proper.